Welcome to another episode of the Electric Bison. It's Veterans Day, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. Peace was declared in World War I. Thank goodness, after a terrible war. And since then we've used that to memorialize our veterans, of which I am one. I've always had mixed feelings about Veterans Day because I think a lot of the people who fought in those wars just really welcomed peace. I know that I prefer peace over war, absolutely. In the center of this picture, out on the horizon, the tallest rounded feature out there is the chest of what we call the sleeping giant. And to the right, what's called the bear's tooth here on local maps, would be the face of the sleeping giant, or the head of it. And on the other side of the sleeping giant is our missile fields here in Montana. We have 150 of them, nuclear tipped Minuteman III missiles. And I worry that we're getting in too unstable of a situation compared with, say, through the Cold War, where there was a reasonably balanced strategy that everybody understood called mutually assured destruction. And each one of those nuclear missiles out there, of course, is a target, and the country with the most capability to destroy those missiles, because if they've got accurate warheads and they've got sufficient numbers and they've got the launch vehicles to send them over here to Montana, is Russia. But China is fast becoming capable of reaching out to us, not to get all of our targets here in this country. There's 150 in North Dakota, there's 150 down in Wyoming, Colorado, and then there's all the population centers, and then the submarine base at Bangor and down in South Carolina, the nuclear submarine bases and their missile lockers. All those would be prime targets for an opponent's missile launches. And I think it would just be awful for us here. And of course, the only thing we'd have to do is launch our missiles and make things awful for all the men, women, and children, and zoo animals, and tourists, and innocent people. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So on this Veterans Day, I think at this part of my life, what I would most like to see is that sleeping giant come alive on behalf of the United States, the people of the United States, the same way Admiral Yamamoto said we would at the start of the Second World War after the attack on Pearl Harbor. He said, I feared we awakened a sleeping giant and filled him with a terrible purpose. That's one way to look at it. But I'd rather see us come awake as a people and work together, get President Trump behind us. He's just very unstable, and I worry very much about his personal instability, with the complete 100% access to the system to launch these missiles. And so I would like to see us get through this period peacefully if we can, and put him in our history books, but in the process begin to develop not more nuclear weapons, but space-based interceptors along the lines of what President Trump is now advocating with his Golden Dome proposal that he's associating himself with. I think it's going to be much, much more expensive than what people are saying right now. I think probably on the order of 20% of our gross domestic product. But it may be what we need to protect ourselves against the nuclear warheads that can come in a variety of ways, including, in the local garbage truck, truthfully, from North Korea, from China, from India, from Pakistan, from France, from the United Kingdom, from Israel, from Iran. We need to include all those entities that have nuclear weapons in a comprehensive international treaty to restrict their use and further growth. I think the National Council of American Catholic Bishops, back in the 80s when they issued their pastoral letter on war and peace, got it about right. Even after being lobbied by the Reagan administration, it was trying really hard. A lot of Catholics in the Reagan administration trying hard to get them to not say that deterrence by itself is not an ethical reason to have nuclear weapons. They were able to get that changed and said it's not an ethical reason to have nuclear weapons, but it's okay to have them as long as the total numbers are being reduced. I think we need to work on that course of action. I think reducing the total number of nuclear weapons in the world is what we need to start to do. And in that vein, if we could use our 150 missiles here in Montana to launch the early space-based interceptors and get rid of our nuclear weapons here in Montana as targets, I'd be really happy. I would be so happy. And it would reduce the number of nuclear warheads, because there's other people that are bringing them on, and we need to somehow adjust for that. So that's what I'm thinking about on this Veterans Day. There's nothing glamorous about war. Just like being caught up in a gigantic car wreck. You don't know who's going to end up getting killed or maimed. It's really, truly awful. So I hope we can work together. I hope we can get behind President Trump's Golden Dome and start pressing for it. And then under the pressure of us doing that, hopefully get all the other nuclear nations of the world, including ourselves, to stabilize the number of warheads and continue to keep reducing them. Anyhow, thanks. Have a great Veterans Day.